Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to address Intro 277. My name is Dorel Tamam, and I'm the head of mobile operations at Curb Mobility, where I oversee our e-hail services. We do not support Intro 277 and feel to keep taxis competitive. If a minimum pay is put upon the taxi industry for e-hail jobs, then that same standard should be put throughout the industry so taxis don't lose competitiveness within the market and existing earnings opportunity. Between 2017 and 2022, taxis have lost 50% of their rides from TNCs and have not recovered. In 2017, the flex fare pilot was started, which saw immediate impacts for the taxi industry. New business was able to be attracted to taxis, such as the Accessoride program, corporate travel accounts, and non emergency medical transportation. Markets that have previously stayed away from taxis due to the inability of competitive prearranged pricing. Curb has also helped bring consumer rides through our Curb app and partnerships with notable TNCs and other partners through the integration into our network. For March of this year, about 10 to 15% of rides were e-hail, which are rides the industry would have not captured without its flexibility in pricing and could have been distributed to other service classes. The reason why the council should avoid setting higher pay rates for taxis are rooted in fairness, market competition, and the impact of drivers. To reiterate some key points, street hail volume is down 50%, and e-hail has accounted for 10 to 15% of trips, which could have gone to other service classes, providing more earnings opportunities for taxi drivers. Taxis were able to get e-hail rides from rates being flexible. Without the flexibility of rates, an uncompetitive environment is created, pricing taxis out of their opportunity of e-hail rides through the choice of consumers, programs, and rides from partners. Lastly, drivers have a freedom of choice when deciding to
Your time
accept.
has expired.
Thank you. We ask that you submit your remaining testimony in writing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Intro 277 would require taxi e-hail trips, such as those arranged by taxi apps Curb and Arrow, to pay drivers at least as much as they would have received on a traditional street hail trip on the meter. This bill would effectively reverse studies and rulemaking efforts dating back to 2018. When TLC first launched the FlexFare pilot, under this pilot, e-hail app companies were permitted to offer upfront pricing to taxi passengers, allowing taxis to compete with Lyft and Uber for customers. As upfront pricing is a key factor that contributed to the growth of the app-based FHVs. Granting the taxi industry the same flexibility is vital to ensuring their long-term competitiveness. Importantly, taxi drivers can decline e-hail trips if they're not satisfied with upfront price. The choice to opt in is theirs. E-hail now represents about 5 and 10% of taxi trips, small but important supplemental trip source for the industry at a time when taxi trips are still at about half of 2019 levels. TLC also analyzed fare and driver pay data, finding that per mile take-home pay was slightly higher for flex fare than the metered rate trips, and that average flex fare trip are longer than metered trips. Following our public hearing in response to stakeholder feedback, TLC also analyzed the driver pay data in alternative ways, finding that on trips with similar origins and destinations, flex fare trips paid slightly more than metered trips. Based on all of this analysis, and because flex fare is a small optional part of the taxi sector, we determined that it would not be appropriate to impose additional fare or pay requirements on taxi e-hail trips. Instead, we continue to monitor flex fare's impact on the industry and may adopt additional requirements in the future as needed. Requiring e-hail trips to pay at the meter rate would harm taxi competitiveness and likely cause customers who prefer app-based dispatch to avoid the taxi industry altogether, reducing trips by as much as 10% and moving millions of dollars in revenue from taxi to Uber and Lyft. For those reasons, TLC opposes this bill.